Hey, Susan. I'm trying to admit everyone. I don't, there's Tatiana. I'm not seeing a lot of people. There's Nita. Let's see who else is here. I don't see Elena anywhere. Not seeing Elena. Okay, everyone else looks like they're in. Nita, the show is all you today, right?
Yeah, and Elena should be joining in because let's see, I don't see her here. But what we could
there she is. She just showed up. Okay, I'm letting her in, and then anybody else on this list that's a facilitator? Y'all should be able to log in. We set you all up, but this is a trial run. That's why we do these. Let's see, Ariel.
Hi, Robin. Thank you. All right.
Anybody else that needs let in here? I don't see anybody else in the list. Take a quick look at the participant list, see if there's anybody else I need to let in before we get started officially, so you guys can have a breather and get all set. Where's the Zoom link?
It's all of us, the coaches. I don't see any other participants.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself, y'all, and I'm going to turn my camera off and turn it over to you. Let me make sure who is driving. Elena, do you want, because I don't see Ariel on here.
I'm driving. That's fine. I'm driving, but I don't see like anybody waiting in the room in the wait.
Yeah, there's a ton. So I haven't come in yet, so you guys can get organized.
Got it. Yeah, I'm starting the meeting. Okay. You're already recording, right, Robin?
Yes, it's set up. So I'm making you the host.
Perfect.
So now you have to let everybody in.
Okay.
Whenever you guys are ready, I'm gonna turn off my audio and
ready.
This is awesome. I'm super
great. I'm meeting everyone here. Hopefully we start getting everyone joining us. And okay. So far we have 24 participants. And it's 12:03, so I will go ahead and start the meeting. We are recording. And as soon as I see more people joining us, I will admit. All right. And I don't know if the other master coaches as part of the group can also admit people. If not, I will do my best to look at those waiting in the room as I introduce our first speaker. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's 12:03, so we'll go ahead and start. Good afternoon and welcome to our very first session of the Coach Launchpad series. My name is Elena Sarango Muñiz, and I am a leadership coach and founder of Sarango Executive Coaching, a business that I launched 3 months ago. So I'm brand new on this. You're joining us, as mentioned, in the first session out of a total of 6 sessions, part of the Houston Chapter Small Groups Initiative. This is an initiative that we're starting here each month. For an hour, a master coach will be sharing with you, with the audience, their topic of expertise. So each master coach will choose a topic of expertise that will support your learning on creating your own coaching business or starting your own coaching business as a way to give you not only the business knowledge, but also the emotional support that we all need and that you might have experienced if you already started your journey. We will be recording each session. We already started the recording of this session, and we will make it available in our Houston ICF website to all those participants that have registered. Now it is my pleasure to introduce you to Nita Sain, who you see here on the screen, who is our first brave and courageous master coach, who will be introducing her topic and will give you more details about her practice. Nita?
Thank you. It's been wonderful to be with so many of you. I'm trying to see each one of you. I see several screens, and it's again, as Elena mentioned, this is a brave adventure at this point. But again, doing through the Zoom, I'm sure we'll get the most out of it. First of all, I want to say thank you, ICF. Thank you, Elena, for opening this platform for all of us to kind of share ideas, learn from each other, learn from our experiences and expertise. So I'm excited to be facilitating this session with you all. And as you know, today's topic is how to get your launch. I assume you all are ready to launch your coaching businesses, and how actually to make it happen, how to make that a reality. And that's what the focus is. And since we have formatted this session in a more of an interactive session, so, please feel free to raise your hands. I'll open the floor in between for any comments and questions. So it's not just a one-way communication. So just a little bit about myself. I have been in coaching business for years now. I own a management consulting firm. I pretty much focus on software development, financial technology, training for banking systems. And along my business career, I realized that many people who are in the workforce need coaching in order to succeed in their careers, making sure they climb up the corporate ladder or become successful in their professions. So I actually got my certifications from Life Purpose Institute, that's in California, and it was a phenomenal experience. I wasn't sure how to get into coaching business myself. It was intimidating. It was something I was getting into a new territory, but I was going to add the coaching business into my existing business, and I thought that would be an easy start. But again, as we all know, it's a business. So everything, any new idea that we come up with has to become a reality. And it again goes through the same cycle of how do you actually make it happen. So the way I started, and I just want to share my quick experiences before I want to hear from you all as well. I was pretty much lost as to where do I start? Who are going to be my clients per se? So I just resorted to pen and paper, and I said, okay, this is a new business. I'm going to start off with a business plan as to what my idea is. How do I want to implement it? How do I want to make sure it grows in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year from now, or even 5 years? What do I see this business becoming in the long term? And of course, short-term goals are of course important to get you to the long-term goals. And so business plan helped me a whole lot. That actually crystallized everything that was in my head, because we are all entrepreneurs. We have ideas. We want to change the world. We want to change people's lives, transform people's life, and make it a business proposition in that process for all of us. So the ideas became more clear when I started writing out a business plan. What would be the name of my business, how the business structure would be, how would I conduct my business, who would be my clients, how would I market, what would be the cost of setting up a business, and of course the governmental requirements, of getting licenses, setting up an EIN with IRS, and a whole gamuts of things, which falls into the administrative and management part of it. So having your idea is great, but getting to that step where you actually exist in the marketplace as a business owner and a consultant and a coach, it's poles apart. And so that's what we want to focus on today's session, as to give you I prepared a checklist and I prepared a summary, which I'll be happy to share after this session. But basically, I understand that you all are already, do you have credentials? Have you all completed your training that you're going through? Or maybe we can open the floor for some of you to chime in. So I can basically see what your specific questions could be going forward, and then maybe we can tie the conversation accordingly. Does that sound good, Elena? Are you okay with that format?
Yes, it's your floor. Yes, go ahead, Nita. So everybody, I think it's muted. So if you want to participate, please unmute yourself and share what you would like to share as far as Nita's question is concerned. Where are you on your journey?
Hi, I am Baby Kelly Serrato. And where I am in my journey is I just got laid off from my job about a week ago, which I was actually happy it happened, because I'm in the process of redeveloping my coaching business. My coaching business fell apart when COVID hit. So I went back to work for a while. I've since then certified as a team practitioner with GTCI. I have my other certifications as well. And I am starting on a journey with Impact Coaching Solutions, where I'm enrolled in a one-year cohort for actually learning how to develop and market the business as a coach, because that's something that they don't necessarily give us in our trainings. We're kind of have to feel around for that and learn it on our own. And even though I've done it before in a regular business, coaching is a little bit different. So you have to market with a specific avatar in mind. You have to develop that, identify it, and then test it to see if people are actually interested in what you have to offer, and then target those individuals that are truly interested. And that's probably where I am right now. That's the best way to describe it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly, we all go through those phases. We start something, it stops, we pivot to something else. And so we'll look at those things as well. And anybody else at this point would like to chime in? All right. So, okay. So hearing nobody's actually has raised their hand. So here's what basically, as and our participant just shared, it all comes down to the practice. The more you practice, the more you know your expertise. What is your passion? What is it that you're trying to offer to your potential clients is absolutely essential. And that's just one part of the equation, because you got to understand the market, and you have to know what the needs are out there when different people are going through different phases in their lives, whether they went through COVID, whether they are going through career changes, family situations, or even some of them need spiritual guidance and advancement in life. So you got to know the potential market that you're going to enter into. And also, I think it's always a good idea to know what is being offered by other coaches. Is there a niche that you can tap into? Your services need to stand out from other services that are offered by other coaches. And this is I think, growing industry. There's billions of dollars of coaching, I think, services offered either nationally or internationally. So the industry is big, but it has not been promoted as much as it should have been. So you can always try to find what is your niche. How do you make yourself stand apart from other services, other coaches? It's not a cookie cutter formula, as we all know. You are going through the training. So what really connects with your own self as a coach, what you're comfortable with, what you can commit to, what type of service that you can commit to in a short term or a long term, and as long as you want to have this business. So entrepreneur is basically, we are all visionaries, we have the ideas. And when it comes to actually starting, as I said, having a lot of people jump into, let's just say, forming an entity. They look at whether I should have LLC, whether I should have corporation, what should I do? That's a secondary step. You need to first of all see, okay, if you're going to be a transition coach or life transition coach, and that's your forte and that's your passion, then you need to make sure you are writing out all those ideas, whether from your training manuals, whether whoever you are taking your training from, are they providing any tools and techniques that you can utilize in your sessions, or you can create your own handouts, own working sessions, your own manual in a way that you feel comfortable based on what you have learned. But you got to stand out from the general practice that is being done by novice entrepreneurs. And so that I would highly recommend before even just thinking of what type of entity and everything else. Make sure you have your idea clear. Offer some pro bono sessions, start off with, so that you know what people, how they are reacting, how you practice. The more you practice, you become the most proficient coach. That's how it works. And I would suggest, once you feel comfortable with yourself, that you're confident enough to offer coaching services with a, obviously paid clients that you want to have. When you get to that point, I would suggest looking into, if you're in a state of Texas and you have done your business plan in a rough manner, where you're going to market, who are you going to reach, what is your elevator speech, what is your niche. So once you do that, I would recommend going to the Secretary of State website, a wonderful resource. They have laid out every detail of what each business structure means, what are the tax implications. And so you can save a whole lot of money by just going to these resources that are out there. And I'll be happy to send that link to Elena and Robin, so you can actually go through different types of entities that you might want to form. Business name is the most critical thing. It should convey what you're going to offer, how people will react to it, and it has to be catchy. So spend a whole lot of time, I would suggest, in coming up with a business name that is not just a standard kind of name, like, okay, health and wellness coach, which is pretty standard. But if you're going to offer something specific, if it's about Alzheimer's or it's about something else, make it very, very catchy, and people should understand that easily. So that's a big part of how you name your business. What is your business name? Entity wise, I would suggest, I would highly recommend not just hiring a legal consultant or CPA at this point, because you can find all those basic resources online directly from the government websites or SBAs, Small Business Administration. In Houston, a fantastic entity that exists, that is Core Houston. They are all retired professionals, CEOs from large corporations, and they offer a lot of services. If you're not sure how to write a business plan, that's the place to start with. They will walk you through the details, because it comes down to how you have a plan for, let's say, first 3 months, 6 months from now, or 1 year from now. And it boils down to the specifics as to what actually you have to do day by day to implement that and achieve those short-term, intermediate, or long-term goals. So again, you get into the practice of doing things as an administrator and a manager, besides being an entrepreneur who has an idea and who want to make a difference in the world. You've got to make sure you have that administrative function side by side, rolling every day, taking you to that completion of the process and making your business a reality. That's the goal. Once you have decided your name, you know what entity you want, make sure you register or reserve that name, because a lot of times, and it doesn't cost a lot. I mean, I know state of secretary of, Texas has some $5, $25 fee just to reserve the name. Once you are really you like something, reserve it until you figure it out other aspects of the business. If you are going to do business in other states, you got to find out what the requirements are, what kind of licenses you need. Always make sure you are researching for the best business insurance. There's a lot of liability in this business, and I'm sure you have been well trained in your while you're seeking the credentials. I've come across a lot of clients with mental health issues, and that is a major concern nationwide. The statistics show that almost 1 out of 5 adults are going through mental health issues, and all those issues are going unnoticed. So when they come to the coaches, they expect us to deal with mental health issues, trauma, to the point that they're going through some maybe, and again, there's a little fine line. We are not doing the medical counseling, we are doing the coaching. So you got to make sure when you have a business contract with a potential client, whether it's paid or pro bono client, whoever you have, make sure you have a contract well written. How much, whether you're offering any services for free, how long is the session, what are the requirements, are you following ICF guidelines? So the client knows upfront that you're following a particular structure and you're doing it within the realm of regulations, legalities, and there are some boundaries that you cannot really handle as a coach. And that has to be laid out very well in your contract. And the contract signed by you as a coach and the coachee, so that once you have a business insurance, after you find whoever is giving you best price, I got mine with Hiscox. It's $400 a year. And so professional liability protects you from any liabilities, lawsuits. I usually avoid the clients who I don't feel comfortable if they have a medical history. So I kind of ask them if they're comfortable sharing their medical history. If it falls beside or falls into the mental health or a PTSD type of traumas that people may have gone through, some veterans, I don't feel comfortable handling it because I'm not a medical professional. So please be careful. I recommend that it's not just making money out of this business, but protect yourself from the legalities. Any other reputation cost, because you want to be seen in the marketplace as a reliable coach who's been transforming the lives. So that's kind of I don't mean to scare anybody here, but just a precaution that I feel like you should consider. And of course, other things are like, it's no rocket science. If you are going to have office space, make sure it is comfortable, it is professional. People will want to come back to it, to that space. If you're going to do a Zoom session, Skype, just take the precautions in today's world. If you're going to do a business based on the technology, make sure your cybersecurity, your softwares, your everything is it's not subpar, and it's actually there are cheap products out in the markets, but I recommend at least making sure that invest in the technology that will keep you safe. So there are upfront costs involved depending on how you want to have office space or whatever technology you need to have. You may need to have a staff, a scheduler. So depending on your budget, make sure in your business plan you have some pro forma financial statements as to how much is the cost in within a year or even a month to begin with. So whatever timeline you set. And how will you recover that cost by having how many clients? What would be your fee? So again, it all comes down to the coaching. Though coaching is all about empowering women or men to succeed in whatever they do, from the emotional standpoint, intellectual standpoint, we have to look at this as a business which is tactical, which is non-emotional, which is technical. And sometimes I have found that I go through a huge struggle to shift myself as a coach and look at this as this business as a money making, making it into a cash cow, which is a little bit hard because we tend to get into coaching so much, and many businesses have seen that coaching businesses have not thrived, or they have not been able to sustain themselves because of the management of the business, ongoing marketing of the business, social media. You can have several videos talking about it on social media. You can talk to, you can host workshops, just small workshops to introduce your coaching service. I started off offering free services a whole lot, and the reason I started was I was elected to Houston Community College Board of Trustees for 12 years, and so I came in contact with a lot of young folks. Had no idea what career they should get into, what their life means. And so I offered a lot of workshops and one-on-one sessions as well for them to feel that they do have a life purpose and they do have a potential to get there and how to get there. So that gave me a whole lot of practice. Also along the way, when pandemic happened, and this is an opportunity for you all also to tap into, federal government brought a lot of funding to the local entities, cities, counties, and small businesses were failing. There were really a problem for entrepreneurs to sustain or keep their businesses open during the pandemic. So I was fortunate to be on the team with the county where we work with hundreds of small businesses, giving them the business coaching, business consulting, what to do in such pandemic was a devastating situation for all businesses. And in fact, how to stay open, how to how to pivot, how to collaborate, what do you need to do in such type of situations, and you don't have to shut down your business or livelihood. So that also gave me a lot of experience dealing with different types of people. So I think the more you reach out to maybe as a speaker in a community college or have your own workshops in the libraries, but get yourself out and make yourself known. Visibility is everything. So, but anyhow, I think I gave a long discourse on that one. Let's take a little pause and see if anybody has specific questions or comments, and we can talk about that. So the floor is open again, guys. Anybody wants to chime in? Okay, there's a text.
Yeah, there's a question about the link. If you can just put the link of the business insurance that you mentioned.
Okay, make a note of that.
Somebody said it's hiscox.com, but I'm not sure if that's what I was.
Yeah.
Didn't pay attention to that particular.
Right, right. I mean, Hiscox, that's the one, and professional liability insurance. And of course, depending on your, I started it at a basic level. So, because I didn't want to pay a whole lot per year, the premium was very reasonable. It was, I think it is about $400. And I think the liability they cover, I think about $1 million or something. But I have to go back and look at the contract. So Hiscox is the one that I signed up, and I've been with them for 3-4 years. But again, if you have a better provider, somebody you feel comfortable, if you know somebody, please make sure you have the insurance. That's the most important part of it. And of course, the other part of having business cards, and everything else is, I think it's pretty standard, right? I mean, we have to have a website. You have to have a website. You can write a blog. You can engage people in whichever way. LinkedIn, of course. Several social media platforms exist. But how do you stay in touch with the potential clients? Senior citizen homes. I mean, the marketing plan is going to make it really either, the business, coaching business succeed or fail. That's where it comes down to. And of course, your own expertise, how your coaching style, your coaching areas of expertise that you want to offer. So
Me too.
all is in,
Yes,
yeah.
somebody raised their hand, actually, yeah.
Oh, great, good. Please help me out with that, Elena, because I can't.
Sandra? Yeah, I think Sandra, you raised your hand. Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you. And I appreciate all that you've shared. So just a quick question. I know you brought up that you're really, focused on sort of maintaining a boundary and not bringing people into your practice that might need medical care related to mental health issues. And I'm just curious if you've ever encountered, that you've started with someone in a coaching relationship and they do need a mental health referral. Maybe it's not a medical referral, but it's clear that they could benefit from therapy, for example. How you've gone about establishing those relationships, because I know that's something on my sort of to-do list, is to have that referral ready for folks. And so I'm just kind of curious if you encountered that.
Oh, that's a fantastic question and the comment. Thank you for bringing that up. The way I have seen, sometimes we are lucky that we know upfront if a client is going through medical issues, because when you sign a contract, you kind of get some idea who you are going to work with and who they are going to have as a coach. So sometimes you discover that upfront. And again, since today, we all know the coaching, at least the way I have been taught to do and I do it, is first always you have a discovery session where you spend at least an hour along knowing what the needs of that client could be down the road, or they are. So I allocate about 1 hour just for discovery session. It's a free session, it's not charged. And if I get to know that there's a problem with the client, then upfront, I honestly tell them, look, I can refer you to the medical practitioner or certain entity, and I have the connections, and it's up to them if they feel comfortable. You can always tie up with the clinics, the health clinics also. So any clients come to you, you can refer them to the clinic that you are connected with, or you're doing counseling for their patients already. So that's a step one. But sometimes during the coaching sessions, when you sign them up and you have 6-month coaching, going to go through the 6 months of coaching with this person, but life happens. So in between, during your sessions, if you realize that, let's say a person is, I can't, of course, reveal the client's names and anything, but a lady was going through family issues, divorce, whatever their, internal family marriage related issues. And so during the course of the coaching, that person was so disturbed and so devastated, and the physical safety was the major concern. Now, those kind of situations, I felt that it was beyond my expertise to provide any coaching that will make that person safe with the spouse, that whatever they are going, problems they're going through. That time I had to really kind of divert all the discussions to the point that there's a need for other agencies to come in, maybe law enforcement, maybe other, professionals, psychologists, or a counseling, that they do legal or medical counseling. And so you got to be ready to stop at that point, or bring that client into the fold, that this is not you're stopping the coaching because they're going through a problem, but there is a proper way to get a help from professionals, because this situation has risen to a level that goes beyond just the coaching and empowering a client to reach their initial set goals. So every session you got to be on top of that. Is anything changed? Is your client showing any are there any red flags, or do you feel that it should be reported? And but do it, I would suggest, do it in a way that if the person is already going through the trouble, we don't want to put them in a situation feeling that now they don't have anybody to look up to and we are just leaving them. So you really have to walk them through that process, make them feel comfortable, and then other agencies can take over. So that's a coaching process. It's not a on and off switch. You've got to take them through that. But that's a great question, and I hope I answered that. But you may know it any time, before, after, during, and you just need to hold their hand and take them to the right destination wherever they need to go.
Hey, Nita. Hey, everyone. This is Chris. I'd like to add to your answer, Nita, because what I also heard Sandra say is, how do I get in touch with these psychologists, or how do I build a referral system that I have that available? And what I've done for myself is I've gone to Psychology Today, and I just started reading biographies or the intros. And the psychologists that felt good, that resonated with who I am, and that just I was attracted to, I set up some time with the purpose to say, hey, I'm a coach. And I'd just like to do a chemistry session with you to learn who you are, because I'm likely, if my clients relate to me, then if I relate to you, then, that might be an option. And then, of course, understanding their capacity. It's difficult to refer a coach that you like, but that's fully booked. So that's helping me. But that's the approach I am taking.
That's wonderful. That's the best way, Chris. The way you have started connecting with the psychologist, or any clinics that in your neighborhoods, even so your physicians, primary physicians, I know that, for me and my husband, I know our physicians for years. So the topic came up, like any of the clients, will be happy to provide some services. Now, from the business standpoint, maybe it's but of course, I'm very uncomfortable right away saying that I will offer services for this much cost, or it will cost this much. I kind of tend to offer, for a new client, for a new contact, is to maybe 4 or 5 free sessions somehow, I think. But again, it's up to you how much time you want to invest, whether you have the resources to do so. It's what your personality is. But for me, the toughest challenge has been to get a client or tell them what I do and walk them through the process, and immediately asking them to start the coaching sessions after the first free discovery session or introductory session, to have a $50 or $100 session package signed up, which becomes a hurdle. And I think that's something you may have really mastered it, and I would love to hear that. But that's been the crux of the issue of this business. What I've seen, that relationships eventually build the trust, and the clients will want to pay for your services and have time with you one-on-one, and they feel, yes, I will be able to change my life or profession or whatever they're going through by sitting down with you and going through the coaching techniques that we have been learning from our credentials. So that's,
May I offer one more comment?
yes.
With regard to the referrals, early on in my coaching, I was told that if you do offer a referral, you take on liability. And that if you're going to offer a referral, you offer a group so that they can decide for themselves amongst a group of people. So stay away from offering one person. Or
What a
That's-
great addition.
Mhm.
I'm writing this down. Thank you.
That's a great point. Absolutely.
I
So
don't, I'm not an attorney, but I've always just followed that.
That's a true statement. I've actually worked with medical doctors, that are taking care of my health. And when I've asked for a referral, they say, well, I can give you 3 or 4. I can't just give you 1. I mean, they've actually told me that. So I think if doctors are following that practice or that process, that's pretty important to follow it in your own, in your own business to keep yourself safe from any blaming, shaming, or justification that a patient might provide later, because they will do it if it doesn't work out.
absolutely. That's a fantastic point. I mean, the more we come across neutral and we are giving them options with different referrals, the best strategy, depending on your personal relationship with the client, see how you feel safe doing whichever way. I think it comes to a personal judgment also. That's where I kind of make my decisions in coaching business. If I go straight with my conscience and I feel comfortable with that person. I trust that relationship is fruitful, because there's no benchmark for it. There's nobody else going to give us a timeline or a set of rules to go by for each client. Each person is different. Each person is unique. Each person has their different potential. So how do you actually juggle? So I haven't found any set rules, even now after several years. So again, I recommend just tap into your own judgment, your expertise, your experience. You're all well qualified professionals. So just be careful, and do what is right. And so coming back to, we covered pretty much legalities part, business entity setup.
Nita, Susan Hodge has her hand up.
Oh, great. Okay. Hi there.
Thanks for the comments. I just wanted to make a quick comment when you were talking about it is very uncomfortable when you're starting out, especially to then ask them to pay. But I would like to encourage everyone that, you are trained, you have a skill, you have something of value to offer. So no matter how uncomfortable it is, don't be afraid to ask them to go for the sale. Now, I do some pro bono coaching, but when I do it, I intentionally decide who I'm going to offer that to and for how many sessions. But for everyone else, there's always that moment when you say, this is what I do, this is what it will cost, this is what it looks like. Would you like to sign up? And then sometimes you just kind of hold your breath and wait. And it's a little uncomfortable because you don't know what they're going to do. But we all have value as coaches in our profession to offer. So I would err on the side of don't offer free sessions. Yes, you have to have that first coaching discovery call, is what I call it. But then after that, they make a decision for themselves if they are willing to invest. So that's my only, hopefully some words of encouragement to those of you that are nervous, as we all have been, about asking for that first sale.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. And again, to piggyback on what you just said, I kind of felt after the discovery session, that's 1 hour, of course, free. And once we tell them, okay, so moving forward, the structure of the coaching will be that we will get into an agreement, and this is a standard protocol to have both the parties sign it. So we go through those sections, and they know that this is going to cost them a certain amount, whatever you said. And in that agreement, what I have put a clause in it that says, again, coaching is not about just coaches driving you to make things happen. It whole lot depends on the coaches or the person who's getting coached, their accountability, their commitment. Now, commitment is not in just on the terms of time, but the money and timely fashion attending the session. So I put a whole lot of focus on accountability in terms of their investment into that, into the process or signing up for certain sessions, because some of them, they may have the money, they are ready to do it, but they don't complete, they are not accountable, they don't follow the process. And sometimes I mean, the point is, if you can, as much as early on, close all these loopholes, so you feel comfortable and comfortable what they're getting into. Because word of mouth matters. Even if sometimes there have been clients who are wealthy, they want to spend money and it doesn't matter. But again, as a coach, you got to make sure that your reputation, your branding is not kind of compromised because the person being coached is not taking it seriously in the financially, time wise, or whichever it is. So that's a great point you brought up. And yeah, this is not to discourage anybody, but just know how you want to weave that financial aspect and the coach's commitment into all the sessions that you have. So thank you for bringing that up. And actually, that has inspired me. I'm going to continue working on that myself.
Sorry, Dolan has a question.
Thanks, Lena. Hey, everyone. My name is Dolan, and Susan, good to see you after so many years. And Nita, thank you for your insights as well. So for those of us that are just starting off in this journey, and I know there's no one right answer for this, like when we talk about investment and structuring our hourly rate or packages, what guidance can you give? Is there like a minimum in today's day and age that you're like, hey, Dolan, like I wouldn't go below X, Y, and Z amount? And I know it depends, but any guidance would be much appreciated.
Of course, great point. And the two ways to look at it, from the business standpoint, ultimately this is a service or product we are offering. So you have to make a decision if you're going to serve high-end clients. Sometimes people look at it, if it's highly priced, it's high quality. Sometimes they look at it as, oh, it's $25 an hour. What am I going to get out of it? So that is, again, based on who you want to actually, who's going to be your demographics, what type of clients you're going to serve. So, for example, if young students, they don't have much to invest, but they are great ambassadors for your coaching services, they will go spread the word all over the world. So that time you have to decide, okay, my usual coaching service fee is $100, but I'm going to offer you 50% or 30% discount. So that way you don't compromise your quality of service that you offer. And it becomes a norm that based on the clients and their needs and their financial abilities, you will give discounts and you will make adjustments. That opens more doors for you to establish yourself as a quality coach in the marketplace without compromising or letting anybody judge your services based on the price, because you never know how market is shifting. And so those are the factors I would recommend that you consider. Who are you going to serve? Set some standard price and start offering discounts initially. And then once you become more comfortable, I mean, you are comfortable, of course, great coaches, all of you are. If you feel that you have now mastered it to a level that you can always increase the price at any point. But if you start off high, you may be risking leaving out some potential clients, or and not leaving out the potential clients, but when you step into yourself into the marketplace, how do you want to brand yourself? That's where it comes down to. So it's your branding. Marketing is one thing, but when your name comes up and you're a coach, you're a life coach, people will associate that and the word of mouth will go around. So that's what I would recommend, or my guidance is to focus on yourself and don't let anybody judge you based on your price, if that's what makes you comfortable.
Nita, could I add to that?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I love this tension between being authentic, standing in our power, and undertaking the tactical aspect so that we attract customers. My journey as a person and now becoming a coach is daring to stand in my power, standing in my truth, who I am, the passion, the presence, the heart that I bring to my customers. When I stand in that power and I close my eyes and I visualize who I am and who I am coaching, whatever the market looks like, whatever people are in my proximity or not, I am confident and I own what I am charging my clients. I even turn it around. By you getting a chance to work with me, I can help you transform your life. I can facilitate change. So if you're not willing to invest $25,000 a year to work with me, then what's it worth to live your best life? And then that's how I attract the same passionate, committed people to living a better life. And that's how I attract maybe just a few clients, even though I think it's going to be a lot. But I attract the ones that resonate with me, and they're going to do the work. Because coaching, we just facilitate growth. The work is in being aware every day, filling out your session update, or whatever forms you use. So as I share this, I feel my energy and I stand in that power, but it doesn't mean I sometimes go back into the scarcity mindset of, oh, can I really charge this? So I just wanted to share my perspective and how I go back and forth, because I'm sensing that as we talk through it as a group together as well.
Exactly. And Chris, that's so on the dot, because again, it comes down to your expertise, your experience, and your confidence. You're able to do so because now you know that you are staying firm, like a stick in the sand, and let people come to you. That is a coach's growth. It depends. Someone who's just finished their training at this point from ICF or any training institution, they're just coming out of that. If their level of confidence and expertise and practice makes it perfect, if they feel at that point that they can, the way, this is a great approach, what you have just shared. But it depends again if a person is able to do so. If you're not able to do so, then you can take a baby step of practicing yourself with many pro bono sessions, building relationships, offering some competitive rates. Because in this economy, many of us, majority people, are not looking at investing in coaching services. They have to pay the gas bills, electricity bills. And I'm talking about the middle class people or upper middle class. Now, if you're looking at the high-end clients, that's not the case with them. So that might be, again, a personal choice as a coach, who your target market is. And when you are in the high-end society, definitely you need to be providing what you offer, because they will attract to what you're offering. General population, maybe this is because I worked with from low income, underserved population to all the way to, I would say, not as much into high bracket earners. Overall, I saw that people want this kind of service, they want the help, but they can't afford it. So it depends on a personal note. I would say if anyone is comfortable starting at that lower end, yet offering themselves as a very quality person who's serious, committed, and offers some value to their life, it will grow eventually. So my take, I'm basically agreeing with you saying, we're all saying the same thing. Make sure you know what you want to offer, how you want to offer, and who you want to offer. And based on that, prepare your business plan. That will help clear your ideas. You have a great idea. You can have some coaching service that's probably never been offered by anybody, type of coaching service, but write it out on a piece of paper. That clears it out, everything financially, implementation, growth, management of the business, everything will come clear to you. And that becomes your Bible or guideline. Sorry, not to say religious into it, but that becomes your guideline to follow step by step, month by month, a plan. And you can then hold yourself accountable. Are you actually doing it? You were supposed to do a research on the business insurance, or you are supposed to do research on what type of entity you want. And if you're falling back on it or not doing it, it's somewhere it's holding you back from jumping full-fledgedly into this business. So you can check your progress. You hold yourself accountable if you're really, really fresh and getting off into this business like a literally newcomer. So, but Elena,
Yes, Nita, we have 2 more questions probably and 4 minutes to go. So Usma, you've been very patient with your hand raised all this time.
That's all right. Everything was very informative, so it adds to it. But I actually want to talk about a couple of things. One is the hesitancy that we have in asking to be paid or how much to be paid. Exactly the tension Chris talked about. I think part of it is once we start getting into this like pro bono mindset, you do a couple of free sessions with someone, it becomes harder at that point to kind of talk about money or asking for money. And I think the other thing is like sometimes it's the lack of preparedness. Like we may not even have especially when we're starting, we may not have a coaching agreement written, or we don't have like a Calendly site where somebody can come and book sessions. So some basic bare bones infrastructure also gives confidence in, kind of putting our foot forward in a way in which it is more business-like. So it doesn't look like we're just collecting hours. It's actually part of a business. I actually really appreciate what Chris said. I think we are all doing coaching for a reason. Definitely it's a passion, but definitely it's going to have to earn some money for us to continue to remain passionate about it. So I do think that it's very important to identify what gift we bring to this conversation. We all have like a primordial gift. Some are compassionate, some are, so we just have it. So once we come out with that, I think understanding how many hours we need to coach to get to the bottom line, and also what quality we offer, I think basically set. So if we set ourselves at a very low rate, then sometimes I wonder that you get into that, you have to see 20 clients to make up to your bottom line. And then before you know it, you're back in the corporate mindset that a lot of us are kind of sort of, drifting away. Like you have to make the bottom line. So I think it's very important to sometimes do ground up. What is it that we are doing this for? Sure, passion, but what is my bare minimum? And I'm going to go the Toyota model, which is like a whole lot of people, or I'm going to go to the other model, but no matter what it is, I think the rate should be, what Chris was saying, the rate should also include our primordial gift that we are bringing forth to that person. Sure, there are many coaches, but there's one Chris, there is, all of us. Even though we are all in a competition with each other, maybe at some point in time, but that's the beauty of this collaborative spirit, where each one of us have that unique gift. And once we get to that, then, even the baby steps need to be more intentional rather than just a lot of baby steps and then moving forward. But thank you, Nita, for, putting it all together in a perspective of like everyday thing. But I think getting ready. So when someone says, okay, what is your rate? We are not scrambling at that moment. Like, I don't know what my rate is. Or like, what is your calendar availability? And also really putting yourself before client will value us, we need to value us. And I think that's very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And usually $100 an hour, just now we are talking about it, $100 an hour gives a kind of a balanced approach. But again, as Chris and everybody's saying, I would suggest highly that, and again, whether it's pro bono or paid, have the same exact structure to it, have an agreement, because pro bono clients are the clients. Again, you need to have insurance, you need to have business cards, you need to have proper office. I mean, everything is a business. And pro bono is not as much, they know upfront that they are getting a discount basically. So it's a business structure. It's you are the product. And let's say in entrepreneurship model or business model, tactical model, we can come up with great products right now to sell because I can make a great product. But again, you got to have a realistic view of, is there a market for it? Are people willing to pay for it? Just because I have a great product and I go tell them, look, this is going to change your life. Sometimes those factors are not in our control. The market research, what people are wanting, where their mindsets are shifting, whether it is geopolitical, whether it is financial. So all that is something I would just recommend take into account market research. Have your clear ideas, your niche, your passion well laid out on a piece of paper and match it to what people are willing for it. Is there a market for it? That's kind of always a safer route. So yeah, basically we are all saying the same thing. It's a great start to consider everything very meticulously from a business standpoint. So consider yourself as a product and people are looking at you as the quality, price, trust, reliability, long-term reliability. So a lot of factors go into it.
Nita, I'm conscious that we've passed a minute after the hour. So we have one more question, Rashmi. But before Rashmi goes in, if anybody has to leave, again, we're recording this call. It will be available in the ICF Houston chapter website for those of you that registered. Our next session is November 13th. Tatiana, PCC here on the call, will be leading that question. And so I just that reminder. Rashmi, go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you so much. I'm Roshmi Dalal, and I'm new to the ICF Houston chapter. I've been coaching for a while. I was in the Middle East, so thank you for having me, and thank you for squeezing me in right at the end. I just want to really piggyback off of Chris's comments, Uzma's comments, Nita's comments. I've learned the hard way what the value is of grounding yourself in your coaching practice. It's so important to create that personal brand for yourself. As new coaches, as I was a few years ago, I just, I wanted everybody at my disposal. I wanted to get any clients I could, so I didn't want to bar that entry for myself. But that is actually the biggest farce. It is so important, like many of you have said, just to be so comfortable in your personal brand, to research what you bring to the table. And for clarity of that, I found for myself, it's great to have a coach yourself, someone you can go to discover who you are and what are those gifts and what is your approach that you want to bring to your client. And one of the things that Rich Litvin had mentioned in his book, The Prosperous Coach, is when you have your own coach, that's a great way to sort of walk your talk with prospective clients, saying that, look, I'm using one for myself. It's helped me in my journey, and I want to be able to do the same for you. So just my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, Sandra, Chris, Rashmi, everybody, you just have shared wonderful insights. And so Elena, I know we are out of time, and I can always share my contact information or any links that I have, and please feel free to share with all the participants. And it's been fun talking to you guys.
Nita, thank you so much on behalf of the team for your presentation. You were the first one going, so thank you for being that brave one. I'm sure everyone learned a little bit new today, listening to you, and hopefully everyone feels like we have a community. And I think part of the purpose of creating these small groups, Robin being the leader and president of ICF Houston, the purpose is to create that community for all of us, experienced, non-experienced, starting, non-starting. We're coaches. We all have the same purpose, which is help people, be of service. So thank you everyone for attending. If you have any comments, feedback on how this first session went, please make sure you share that with me or with Robin or with Nita. I will put my email in the comments so you can reach out. And don't miss our next session. Tatiana Bell here on video will be leading that, and it's going to be the topic of imposter syndrome, which I'm sure all of us have felt at some point or another. So thank you, Tatiana and Nita. Thank you again. Have a good rest of your week, everyone. We'll stop the recording now.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great time.
Thank you, Nita.
Thanks, Dave.